What the hell is this?
Good morning, afternoon, or night to any and everyone watching me today. I am Glenbot, your one-stop shop for all anime things lore-related. I've decided to make this here video in regards to Malleus Draconia and his drum vignette. It has issues. Quite a few that I intend to talk about. Okay, I admit that making this wasn't all that fun. For one thing, I'm making what might as well be a hate video on one of the most beloved characters in the fandom. Myself being a part of that. As a George Frank loves a cute little dragon man. When he's written well, of course. And how many problems I ran into involving the making of the video. That sucked. But I won't say much until after this breakdown is over, so stay tuned if you want to know about it. As for the topic at hand, I'll be talking about Malleus Draconia's drum vignette. A quick introduction first. Twisted Wonderland is a gacha/visual novel game that revolves around a bunch of yassified versions of Disney villains who are all made to go to a Hogwarts-like academy to train them on magic. You have the main story, and then you have the vignettes, which come with every card you earn through the Mirror Gacha. But in order to read them, you have to gather these items called secret snacks from the flight lessons, and then fill the vignette gauge to a certain point to unlock all of that story. Our cards only have one story, while SR cards have 2 parts, and SSR cards have 3. They focus more on that particular character and give you a chance to learn more about and see other facets of their personalities through interactions with other characters. They're usually less tense than the main story, reminiscent of the Telegram posts off of Obey Me, though they serve a slightly different purpose as opposed to romance. It's mostly just to give fun little tidbits of a character's life within the walls of Night River College, something that, again, won't be something we'd get to see in the main story. As for Malleus's dorm vignette, I unlocked it with ease since I almost never spend any secret snacks unless I absolutely have to glorify the card. Either to gain rewards or if I'm just interested in that topic at hand. As for the content of the vignette, the actual vignette that you came for, I found it rather odd. For context, I've gotten done doing some research for other dorm vignettes and noticed a pattern. Each house warden would be presented a problem, and then there would be ways they'd handle it. What I found cool about most of them was that some of the vignettes were tie-ins to the vignettes of other characters in their respective dorms, like Azul, Jade, and Floyd, as well as Colleen and Jamil. It really shows, in my opinion, just how intertwined each other's lives are. It could hint at their codependent relationships, whether they're even fully aware of it or want to acknowledge it. Another thing that I noticed was their main traits would be recontextualized as the plot played out, and they would constantly be interacting with other characters, mainly from their dorm. Not a moment wasted, not a character underutilized. Even if the introduced character was from another dorm, they'd be nothing but a cameo, and add an extra tidbit of what we need to know about that character. Too bad that didn't happen in this vignette. I'm not gonna showcase the whole thing on here. I'm just gonna show little tidbits, little pieces here and there, so you can get the gist of what I have a problem with. For anyone interested in gaining some context for the vignette themselves, or if they don't happen to have Twisted Wonderland in their phones, I have provided a link in the description below, so go to that if you wish to know more.
God.
And there it is. That's it. We're already off to a bad start. Why the hell isn't he in his own vignette? He isn't even in the start of his own story. Wait, maybe I should let it play out. Maybe somewhere down the line, something will come from this.
You what?
By now,
And there you have it. Despite this only being the first part, there's already cracks showing in the foundation here. For clarification, I don't think it was a good idea for them to start the vignette by not having Malleus present. Him being absent in the main story was acceptable since it could be used to establish a sense of mystery and build up to him. However, in the vignette he's supposed to be featured in, it reads like a badly written gag. As for the reason why I'm so adamant about Malleus's absence, remember what I spoke of earlier about the characters being recontextualized and interacting with other characters. In this case, Malleus's character is getting kneecapped, and instead of us getting to see his reaction about the housewards getting angry at him directly, Lilia is here to act like some big dumb shield. Almost like the writers wanted to protect his fifis instead of Malleus causing the problems on his own and it going from there. Not to mention that the foundation of the vignette, beginning with the students forgetting him in the first place, is confusing on so many levels. For one thing, you're expecting me to believe that not only would a group of students who are sons of the most prominent and powerful members of society wouldn't immediately clock in that a member of theirs is missing, the headmate, who had to at least be aware of Malleus's becoming of a housewarden, didn't clock in that a member of Housewardens was missing, and that they forgot a whole prince. Royals are shown to be quite prominent in the world of Twist. There's been no real reason established in the story for Malleus to have been forgotten about, other than the fact that he doesn't show up. Also, let it be known that he's one of the 5 most powerful mages in history. Magic is everything, especially to the students at Night Raven. You don't just ignore someone who has been scaled as the strongest just because he missed a bunch of functions. And lastly, the fact that it completely misses an opportunity to fit Malleus's theme of discrimination and loneliness. If you aren't aware, Book 7 follows the theme of discrimination in how ill perceptions can cause people to judge others, and how it causes the judged person to be ostracized. Vignette could have done something interesting with this by showing that the housewardens were afraid or uncomfortable about having Malleus at the meetings due to his family history, among other things, to set up some sort of dashing of misunderstandings. But they just don't. Another thing that bothered me was how both the head mage and Lilia were acting the whole way. But the head needs to be completely unbothered by Malleus's actions is really odd to me, since Malleus not being at the meetings is causing the others to question why they can't shirk them off as well. In fact, he should have been the main one to put his foot down on this problem from the moment Malleus set his pale rump on the housewarden's chair. As for Lilia, why is Lilia not reacting from utter shock at the mention of one of his students attacking/kicking out a housewarden? On account of looking for Malleus. Not to mention that Lilia showed no remorse of losing the letters so that Malleus knew of his meetings. His sprite just has this dumb grin. Like he's not even phased. Like he's proud of it or something. Next, the head mage and Lilia try to reach Malleus, but his phone goes to voicemail. Then Pearlie falls for group search, but it's immediately shot down by Leona and the other housewardens, which causes Lilia to break down in tears, to which all the blame fall out. And then, what Lilia does next honestly made me livid. He blatantly admits that he's acting, trying to do a manipulative ploy to get them to help him search. And naturally, it irritates them too, again, save for Colleen, and they start insulting Malleus and questioning if he's even fit to rule a kingdom, let alone a dormitory. That's not exactly what they say word for word, but you hopefully get what I'm putting down here. Speaking of Colleen, why didn't Lilia try to ask him for help after the meeting was over? Liam is probably the only person in the story who has been in the Diasomnia dorm and knows Silver, not to mention that he and Lilia are a part of the pop music club. Instead, he pulls this up on others and expects people to be fine with it. Way to go, Lydia. Your childishness exacerbated the situation and made not only you, but your housewarden and possibly your whole dorm look terrible. I also noticed that Zool is also acting out of character too. Why is he stopping Kaleem from intervening? He should have used the opportunity to assist Kaleem and Lilia in getting Malleus to attend his meetings. We know that Malleus is very generous even for the smallest acts of kindness towards him. Why wouldn't Azul catch wind of it? Also, Azul would most likely never have to worry about enemies ever again on top of being stinking rich. Not to mention having new clientele. But he tells Kaleem not to intervene just because of what? Was he honestly so offended by Lilia that he ignored this? Oh, and if you're worried about what happens next in this disaster piece, don't worry.
It never gets better. It gets worse.
Now that I remember, why didn't the head mage just summon the ghosts? He literally did that in the beginning of book 2. What was stopping him? Wait a minute. Does that mean he waited until the day of to learn about the location and time of the meeting?
dead yet?
Alright, let's get started with the man of the hour, the person we finally get to meet. I'm wondering if he's okay. Like, I'm being serious. Is he actually alright? He's acting like the suave, brooding, depressive demon nightmare boy that I remembered him from Book 2 and beyond.
But Glenbot, the point of Malleus's character is that he isn't what everyone assumes him to be, right?
Fair point, person in my head, but there's a problem here. Don't you think Malleus is acting a little too oblivious here? In fact, he comes across like a blithering idiot, dumbed down enough so that they could have an easier time to write. Look at the explanation he gives for each time he's pressed for information regarding his lack of attendance. I learned it ahead of time, but couldn't read the whole message. I tried to ask around, but the person was too afraid and left, and all I did was cast a water spell to clean it. Now, I'll tell you that a lot of these don't seem all that bad on its face until you dig a little deeper. For all his struggle to read the message, why didn't he try to get a hold of William or another Geosaunia student to ask how to read it? Is there a particular personal reason why he wouldn't? Why no teachers? Why didn't the writers use his interactions with Cater, put them to use, and have him help with it somehow? Malleus states himself that he got the message ahead of time and knew long before that there would be a meeting. As I asked earlier, why would he wait? But then it turns out that he did try to ask someone, and that had me wondering if he immediately gave up after that.
Glenbot, you're missing the point. Malleus is hated by everyone, yet you expect him to try and keep going up to random people despite that?
Let me be frank here. The story as a whole doesn't do a very consistent job of showing who fears him or not. And let me remind you that the house wardens aren't afraid of him, living out India. No, Colleen was more than willing to try and pitch in before the plot. I mean, Azul told him not to. And while you could leave some benefit for doubt as to why, he's also not favored by some of the non-house warden students either. If anything, a lot of them express caution at the least, and curiosity at the most. In one of Malleus's R cards, Cater just waltzes up to him without issue, and in Malleus's lab coat vignette, there Cater is again, hanging out with him.
Nice try, Glenny, but isn't Cater one of the friendliest characters in the
Before you
story?
bring up his friendly attitude, I want you to remember how Cater acted in Book 1.
Don't
He was
interrupt
never
me.
quick to act out or go above the curve, much like the other household students at the time. One of the biggest examples of this was during the Zoltan one, where he was more than willing to turn and run. Let the professionals handle it, and not get his hands dirty. Not until he was pushed by seeing both the first years and his own past house warden did he finally take action. All in all, Cater meeting up with and befriending Malleus should have been expanded on at some point, or at least treated like a bigger deal in
Just a few throwaway.
lines and a few vignettes. Not to mention his interaction with Ruggy, Rook, but that one with Rocky, Deuce, Ace, and Idia to some extent prove that he can converse with other students. His whole spiel about how humans fear him start and end with completely irrelevant mob characters. Then again, that's a topic for another video. Now, I honestly can't understand for the life of me how Malleus didn't know water and electronics didn't mix, since the lab coat fully debunks this. While the botanical garden student alchemy class with Malleus ended up getting wet into the sprinkler system case. The first thing he did was what happened was check his pockets, which, lo and behold, held his Tamagotchi toy, which was electronic and soaking wet.
But there's something you haven't considered. There's a good chance the events of the dorm vignette happened before the events in his lab coat card.
Okay, but this still leads to another puzzle. Didn't he have the Lord Draco for a long-ass time? It was stated that was a gift from Lillian after his trips to the other lands, and since then, it's been inseparable from him. He treats it like a precious gem, showing that it's special to him. He's powerful and capable of destroying things easily, yet he's so careful with it. What I'm trying to say here is that Malleus is very capable of understanding that the thing he's holding is delicate, and makes active measures to be careful with it. You're seriously telling me that he would be more capable of handling a small toy with its only means of communication, and that he wouldn't have the capacity to understand that it was broken? The same guy who was able to decipher and read ancient texts without need for a translator or guidebook. This version of Malleus might as well not even be the same person. I'd say this is more along the lines of Kalim's plotline, or maybe even a SpongeBob bit. Now that I think about it, the whole scene of Lilia confronting Malleus feels eerily similar to that one episode of Mannery when SpongeBob was trying to teach him to be kind by having him return back and swallow, among other things. We all know how that went from there. Speaking of Lilia, Lilia, where did you go wrong? You were driving the Vignette so well, asking some mostly decent questions, and then in the end you crashed Vignette into a tree, and then tried to gaslight the viewers that they did instead. No, but let me tell you guys, this is so passive-aggressive, far more passive-aggressive than any comments Leona may have made towards Malleus. And that guy is one of Malleus' biggest haters. It's kind of an art form how awful Lily is becoming here. The obliviousness, the lack of accountability. How did Vignette and her team screw the pooch this badly? It's also, again, completely out of character for Lily to do, since he acts nothing like this in Malleus' ceremonial robes vignette. In the vignette, while Malleus is complimenting Sebek's robes, Lilia actively comments on how Malleus is looking, actively picking up on Malleus' envy. You could argue that the vignette isn't exactly hiding how Malleus is feeling. It doesn't help that one of his songmans is naturally oblivious by default, while the other is so clouded by his excitement that he's unable to notice the things right in front of him. But the fact that Lilia is so attentive hints at how much Lilia cares for and understands Malleus overall. Weirder still, when Malleus predictably gets mad and destroys his phone, the vignette glosses over Lilia's comment and treats it as if it never happened. Which, for me, completely poisoned the whole speech Lilia gave to Malleus about how he should learn better ways to conduct himself in regards to others. In a vacuum, it's a pretty good, stern way to showcase how Malleus had so badly screwed up, and it's the wake-up call that he definitely needed. Unfortunately, it comes across as hypocritical and holier than thou because of the actions the speaker previously enacted. How you gotta run off at the mouth about conduct when you literally lost his letters? Throw your words back at you, Lilia. What about you? What have you done to preemptively teach Malleus about how he should come across to the others? What measures did you take to make sure Malleus knew about the cultures and customs of the world around him? What about the other meetings he missed? You have done and said so little to this young man, yet you have the nerve to get mad at him for his lack of tact towards other people. Sure doesn't help that Malleus has been written like he's doing stupid songs, but hey, want some accountability before you dig down on someone else, yeah. You don't even teach him to discipline his own underclassmen. Honestly, I think it should be noted that certain parts of the vignette seem to imply that Malleus is learning Lilia's bad habits, which gives off an incredibly insidious air. Also, again, he seems to be repeating is arguably out of character for Malleus to do so. In Lilia's own vignette, where he's presented with the baby bat Silver and Sebek had found, Malleus showed trepidation, implying that he is acutely aware that Lilia's methods, especially towards something as vulnerable as a baby, is exactly the most reasonable. Ergo, I give you this question. Why would someone this aware just absolutely take from someone they know isn't the most reliable or responsible and consider their actions normal? All in all, this section is terrible. It crosses over many important questions viewers might have regarding Malleus up to this point, and the few answers it gives are unsatisfying at best and completely asinine at worst. The majority of them require the characters to make moves they would otherwise never have made for them to work. It's like the plot has to twist itself into knots just to justify everything happening. But only left me was frustrated and confused, but the biggest problem about this vignette is yet to come. I will reveal it in the final piece, which was the most anger I felt in a long time. To keep myself from losing it and to shake things up a bit, I decided to add a few alterations, a few additions to this last bit. We're almost done. I'm kind of relieved, aren't you? On to the breakdown. First off, the house wardens. I really don't get why we're focusing on them in the first place. since they don't have any personal connection or investment in Malleus as a person, nor do they want to step into the insomnia. They should have been between maybe 1 or 2 house wardens and then taken it from there, but that's besides the point. My main gripe with this section is the introduction of the rule about using teleportation magic on people. The whole thing comes across as bizarre. For one thing, it feels as if the house wardens have missed the forest for the trees. Shouldn't they be upset with more pressing matters, like the fact that they could have difficulty leaving the dorm, or that the guests and other students in the mirror chamber would have difficulty leaving there as well? Not to mention that they look like the biggest hypocrites, given that nearly all of them have used far worse magic on others, without regard for anyone's circumstances. Why even introduce a taboo like this in the first place? Now urban students have constantly been characterized as stubborn, self-centered, and scheming, and if they're capable enough to exercise a loophole, they're bound to use it. Most wardens aren't above this behavior either. If something will heighten their standing or improve their dorm's reputation in any way, they'll take it like a gulp of air. Also, the comparison between people and magic pens just don't work for me. Malleus' weird choice to die on the hill aside, I'm not too happy that Cedric and Silver came in so late in the vignette. I felt like the writers were putting them in there as an afterthought. Then after they made themselves known, they left just as quickly, not even speaking further on Malleus' mishap. And then Lilia. You know what? I'll save him for later. And it ends on a kinda weird note. I don't know how to describe it, since Lily at least tried to explain to Malleus what he did wrong, and they start talking, making up. There's a twinge of normalcy. And then we get to the groovy art.
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness! Squidward!
Now, I would like for any of you to guess where exactly he's even at, because I'm traveling. The window in this room makes me think he's in his own dorm room? But what the hell is his arm bleeding? Where did those ceiling flowers come from? What happened to the rest of the room? Now, I suppose you could argue that the other groupies tend to have abstract backgrounds and such, but I can't help but wonder what the decision behind making it look like this was, not to mention the dialogue during this sequence. Yeah, I'm happy. I may have made a complete fool of myself in front of my fellow housewards and gotten banned from ever going to meetings in the near future, but hey, this is all so refreshing. Even though my dorm is a hot mess, my students have little to no discipline and will attack any and all visitors, including housewards, with little provocation. I constantly fail to attend meetings that provide information for upcoming events and activities that would keep me in the know of the school around me, as well as make sure my dorm is always ahead. And it's a constant struggle to contact me or find where I am, so if anyone wanted to relay any important information to me, they wouldn't be able to. Wait, but how is this guy still a house warden? If you attempted to do anything close to this as a student council member in real life, you would be kicked out faster than your mind could register the impact of the ground after they threw you out. It's just one nonsensical thing after another. All in all, this section is terrible. Glosses over very important questions viewers might have regarding Malleus up to this point, and the few answers it gives are unsatisfying at best and completely asinine at worst. No, the majority of them require the characters to make moves they would otherwise never have made for them to work. It's like the plot has to twist itself Wait a minute.
Wait a minute!
Well, why is everything in this vignette so off? Could it be that everyone is under a spell? Could some evil, underlying force be manipulating them to act this way? No, it's culture shock, or so the people at Reddit say could be what's influencing Malleus' strange behavior. But what is culture shock? Culture shock is the state of disorientation and anxiety a person can experience when moving to a culture that is unfamiliar to their own. It usually has 4 stages: the honeymoon phase, frustration, adaptation, then acceptance. It's possible to skip certain phases altogether, or only experience certain phases at a time. And long story short, culture shock is a very complex and interesting concept that would have been really cool to see in the narrative. I wasn't too familiar with the term, so I did what anyone would do and researched it. While the videos and articles I looked at were helpful, I felt that nothing was more helpful than the conversations with people who did. One immigrant from Germany told me a lot about his difficulty with adjusting to many things like the time zone adjustments, mannerisms, American people being more expressive of their opinions than Germans, and lastly, social media and the general internet being monitored and much more strict compared to the US. Above all, it really made me realize that the culture shock aspect was very bare bones and rushed, which was a no-brainer since everything else was rushed. Not to mention how Malleus just zipped through the phases like a freight train. But why? I couldn't grasp why anything was the way it was until it hit me. Silver's dorm uniform, specifically his groovy, to explain the story alludes to Silver and Malleus having parallels to one another throughout Book 7. Both are connected to royalty. Both are very serious fellows, and only really consider one person their true friend. Both are chronologically older than they should be in the story, and their artworks hint at this being the case. I feel like the vignette was written more to be like an opposite of Silver's. Silver's problem is presented with him being surrounded by people, while Malleus isn't even in a room and learns of his problems secondhand. Silver receives aid almost immediately, while Malleus is denied and left to fail. Looking at it from that angle really makes me understand why everything was all over the place. It really feels like the writers wanted their cake and to eat it too. Why have a story that's as complex as culture shock be mixed in with a weird parallel that fails to serve anything but to make it harder to tell your story, and to ultimately make it come across so mean-spirited? The biggest example being Lilia. Yes, I'm talking about him now. He's all over the place. For one moment, he's supportive of Malleus, and the next, he's weirdly instigative. Throughout the vignette, he felt like a very bothersome and unhelpful presence. His unnecessary actions at the air chamber, his off-putting comment towards Malleus and their dorm, and the whole laugh he does towards the end. Like, brother, you're a grown man. You shouldn't be acting like this. All in all, I hope this served to show why I thought this was the worst vignette I have ever read. Thank you to any and all who were willing to put up with this video until the end. This was, once again, a long time coming, and I want to hear from your lovely viewers. How did you like the video? Are there things you'd like to see me improve on? Are there things you disagree with or found interesting? Also, how do you guys like the new opening I have? I might do away with the current subtitles, because I plan to dish out a different voice module so people can understand me better, along with a surprise coming to the next video, so look out for that. Anyway, I salute you, can't see Peters. Bye bye!